Okay, so why might countries trade freely? There's a whole variety of different reasons, but the most obvious one, is that what it's going to do is it's going to create competition. If you watch the one on kind of LSE growth report, kind of what they were saying, one of the key drivers of growth had been, kind of opening up of the UK in the 80s and 90s to global competition. So kind of free market forces. So what's going to have to happen is that, if we open up to trade, domestic firms are now competing with firms, on the world market, and as a result, they're going to have to become more efficient to compete. So what that's going to do, is if that's real GDP, that's the price level, there's AD. What that's going to do is it's going to both put downward pressure on costs, and also because firms are more efficient, it's going to put upward pressure on capacity as well. As a result of which, competition should, in principle, lead to benefits for great pen. Competition should lead to benefits for a whole variety of different economic actors. So, firstly, GDP is rising. So we'd expect to see overall an increase in living standards. Obviously, there are risks with free trade. Competition should put downward pressure on the price level as well. So what we're hoping to see is reduced inflation, perhaps lower prices, enhanced growth, and therefore the economy as a whole and consumers, would be expected to benefit. Linked to consumers generally, apart from obviously, firstly, we're saying that we would expect prices to go down. Global competition doesn't have to be just on price. It could be on the basis of quality. And perhaps most importantly, what you're going to see is an increase in choice. If the UK doesn't trade with anybody, then you ain't having any avocados. Your dinner is cabbage soup. So trade expands options and choices. For consumers. A point that's sometimes made, is that we tend not to kill the people with whom we trade. So it's likely to improve international relations. So again, and what that's going to do is it's going to kind of increase stability and may create an appropriate international environment for investment. But probably the most important thing, is this idea, that if countries trade, they no longer have to do the things that they're bad at. So what can happen? A fourth benefit is kind of international specialization. What happens is that countries produce what they're best at, and they trade for things that they are bad at. And what that's going to do is it should lead to a much more efficient allocation of resources. If countries can not produce things that they're inefficient at and put those resources into things that they are efficient at, then what's going to happen is that global economic output's going to increase, global growth should increase, and choices for consumers should increase. So why, in principle, do economists quite like free trade? Firstly, there's this idea of international specialization, which we'll examine further. Secondly, there's just this sense that domestic firms have to now compete with the best in the world. Therefore, that's going to put downward pressure on prices, upward pressure on quality, and should lead to greater efficiency and growth. Thirdly, it should lead to more choice for consumers. And fourthly, it should lead to kind of better relations between countries, creating a more stable environment for investment.